Brought to you by DK Audio. DK Audio presents The Military History Book. Big Ideas Simply Explained by DK. Read by Charles Armstrong. Introduction. Military history is the study of armed conflict, a constant in human societies for millennia. Prehistoric cave art from around 10,000 BCE depicts small groups of archers in combat, while ancient mass graves suggest larger battles. Full-blown war as a more organized, collective enterprise occurred from around 2700 BCE. Mesopotamia is thought to have had the first standing army, with which its ruler Sargon carved out his Akkadian empire. Emerging as a nation 1,000 years later, the Assyrians were equally warlike and notoriously ruthless, but also innovative, pioneering a style of siege warfare that endured for more than 2,000 years. As their empire fell, the Babylonian Empire rose to replace it, a pattern endlessly repeated over hundreds of years. War was always spreading, and its weapons and strategies would be constantly rethought and refined. Power, land, and wealth were potent incentives for rulers and their closest circle, people who had fought their way to the top. The fruits of victory enriched this elite, who then sought lasting grandeur, building temples, palaces, and tombs that helped define nations and gave them their identity. With identity came patriotism that encouraged warriors to defend their land against foreign aggressors. Rulers also promised their subjects protection in exchange for their service in time of war, and death in battle was celebrated in epic poetry, which elevated heroic warriors to a godlike status, convincing them that valor was the path to glory. Inspiring armies. Because war is seldom less than bloody and terrifying, the ability to motivate an army is vital. From Alexander the Great to Napoleon Bonaparte, there were certain great leaders who had that gift, who could inspire commanders, know their forces' strengths and weaknesses, and use effective battle strategies. Before the era of more sophisticated propaganda, it was their charisma that galvanized armies to fight to the death. Religious zeal could be equally inspiring, driving Arab warriors of the 7th century CE to spread the word of Islam by force, Christian crusaders to take back the Holy Land, and individuals such as Joan of Arc to perform remarkable feats of bravery. Rulers also used the cloak of religion as a pretext for expanding their lands. Other triggers for war were the miseries of oppression, destitution, and exploitation. The enslaved rose up, the impoverished revolted, and subjugated nations and ethnic groups fought for independence. Revolutions have occurred in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and across Asia. Tactics and weapons. The battlefield has also been an important arena of technological innovation, which in turn produces new strategic thinking. The ancient Greeks, for instance, refined the weapons and tactics of earlier civilizations, grouping their heavily armed infantry, hoplites, in near impregnable blocks, phalanxes, up to 12 men deep, which proved far more effective than fighting in hand-to-hand combat. More mobile units made hoplites obsolete. Just as much later, Muslim light cavalrymen outstripped and outmaneuvered the armoured knights of medieval Europe, who also proved vulnerable to the arrows of the English longbow. From the late Middle Ages, firearms reduced the use of close combat, while cannon fire that could breach city walls put an end to traditional siege warfare. Pitted against the primitive weapons of indigenous peoples, firearms also gained colonies in the New World and Africa for European imperial powers. The repeating carbines and automatic handguns, invented in the 19th century, gave rise to semi-automatic rifles and...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?